looking down the road, just like I always do.
Well, hello, Matrix. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever it is, whatever time it is, wherever you may be when you are checking out this episode. If you're new here, thank you for stopping by. My name is Philip. I run this tiny little channel called The Inner Road. If you are a returning visitor, that means so much to me. Welcome back. It is guess what, glorious autumn morning as I am driving out of Charlottesville, heading to a lovely little coffee shop in Gordonsville, Virginia today, just to clear my head, clear the cobwebs, enjoy some of this incredible weather, incredible autumn that we're having. Colors are still pretty much peak, and just couldn't sit on the couch this morning, needed to get out. Yes, today is the day after Halloween. It is November 1st when I'm recording this. Hard to believe it's November. I do understand how time works, and I am pretty sure that it moves at the same pace for me as it does for you. I guess psychologically, I just cannot believe it is November 1st in the year 2025. But yes, so yesterday, Halloween, spooky season, leading up to Halloween in Charlottesville, I've noticed, some of you will know, and those of you who are new here won't know, that I spent 17 years living in England and only returned not quite 2 years ago. So I am obviously now back and, kind of hitting my stride here in Charlottesville, back in America. But 17 years away in a foreign country, I've returned to a country that is, subtly different. It's, in some ways, it's dramatically different, but other ways it's subtly different and noticeable. So lots of very tall skeletons and Halloween sort of spooky things, like 15 feet tall. That wasn't something that people did when I left in 2006. Little things, like I said, subtle. One thing that I've caught up. So I grew up outside of Chicago, in the suburbs of Chicago, Illinois. So I grew up a huge Chicago Cubs fan, and I remain a Chicago Bears fan, and all the teams. I got to watch Jordan play live once, and got to see all those championships. So, there was a prime time of, I'm talking the Cubs fan now because it's baseball season, World Series on, and this was Ryan Sandberg, Andre Dawson era, Rick Sutcliffe. I don't know if any of these names mean anything to you. I'm an older guy, and you may not even like the Chicago Cubs. I get it. But my point being, I went to England in 2006, and I lost touch with baseball. And I don't mean like sort of lost touch. I mean, it disappeared off my map. They don't really care that much, or at least they certainly didn't then. I can't speak for what it's like, and I'm sure there are baseball fans there, but it's just not the same thing. Now, the NFL, they love the NFL there. I got they have, as some of you will know, they've got games in London, I think as many as 4, and some in Germany and Brazil, right? It's becoming an international sport. I even got to see the Bears play in London at Wembley Stadium, along with some others. I got to see Tom Brady and Randy Moss score a touchdown in the Patriots era in London. So it was a lot of good fun. I kept up with the Bears all that time because of that. But baseball just disappeared. The national pastime is not necessarily England's pastime. And I started watching again this summer as the Cubs, my old love, were, heading toward the playoffs and actually got into the wild card. Sorry if you're not a sports fan. I'm not a tremendous sports fan. It's more about the affection I have for these teams that I grew up with. And talking about the subtle changes, not just the Halloween decorations, but just baseball is such... I was watching a game before the playoffs started where it went into extra innings. The Cubs, I think they won in extra innings, but so they came back from commercial, and immediately they were like, all right, runner on second. And I was like, what did I miss? They just got back from commercial. How, someone got a double? What happened? I don't understand. And it was very confusing for me, and I had to text my brother, who is a bit older and who lives here and has all the time that I was in England. And I just said, what the hell is going on? Why is there a guy in second base? And he said, oh, yeah, they do that now in baseball when it's extra innings. You just get a guy on second base. And, of course, I saw the pitch clock, so that was interesting. That was new for me. I didn't know that pitchers had to pitch at a certain amount of time. I mean, I grew up with this pitcher, Rick Sutcliffe, in the Cubs era of my day, where they called him the human rain delay. It took so long to get from pitch to pitch. And so I get it. Speeding up the game is cool. I'm not sure how I feel about the automatically getting a runner on second. Whatever. Like I said, doesn't matter that much. It's more about it's more about that sort of, attachment I have to the Chicago teams than being a diehard sports fan. And there are other things. There's just, the catchers don't call pitches anymore. Well, I mean, they do, I guess, but they don't do it the way they used to do it with the signals. I like the hand signals. 1, fastball, 2, curveball. Now I guess they got technology. It's always technology. So whatever, that's cool. It's still basically baseball. It's just little things. These gloves runners wear on their hands when they're running the base. I don't know. It's just subtly different, and for 17 years, it just was, it didn't exist, and then they just pop out at you when you suddenly start watching. You're like, what is that? That's not the baseball I remember. Anyway, the Cubs didn't get didn't get far enough, and now I'm rooting for the Toronto Blue Jays because I like Canada, and if it can't be the Cubs in the National League, then it shouldn't be anyone else. That's the way I feel. All right, so yesterday was Halloween, as I said. And I'm new on Facebook after 6 years off of it. I've been joined it, as I said in one of the earlier episodes, to connect with some motorcycle buddies that I'm getting to know here in Charlottesville. And I thought, it'd be fun. I know I had this picture. I took a mobile phone shot of a photo at my mother's a couple years back of me as a very young boy, maybe 5-6 years old, with my brother in a Halloween parade where I knew I was in a costume. That's all I really kind of remembered. And I thought, oh, that'll be fun. I'll put that on Facebook and say, wish everyone a happy Halloween. So I had to go searching for it in my digital archive. And I found it. And lo and behold, it was such a joy to see. Obviously, I'd seen it before, but I just had forgotten about what the photo was, what our costumes were. I just knew I had this old Halloween photo. And as some of you will know, and the returners and the new people, you should know, I'm new to biking. Motorcycling is new for me. I love it. It's a passion. That's why I started this channel, and you can check out the other episodes where I certainly spend a good deal of time talking about how much I love it. Well, the photo of me as a 5 or 6 year old in a Halloween costume, well, as I wrote in my post on Facebook, I may be new to motorcycling, but it was always in my heart. Because that's me in the middle there, dressed as the late, great, apparently not always very nice, Evel Knievel, the legendary motorcycle stunt man, whatever that you want to, call him. It flashed back immediately. I was just obsessed with Evel Knievel at that point in my life. I had the toy where you wind up the toy and then he just goes and the bike rides off and can do jumps, and I would love to have that toy right now. I know, what? I'm a 56-year-old man. I'm talking about a toy I'd like. That one I'd like. And I'm not talking about unopened in box. I'm talking I want to play with that stupid thing. Evel Knievel, man. There's a doc on Netflix. Apparently he wasn't the nicest guy, but end of the day, he was Evel Knievel. And as a kid, that was pretty much all I cared about. So there you have it. What an interesting sort of memory to have on this Halloween, to find myself dressed as one of the most famous motorcyclists ever, as I have begun only in the past few months this motorcycling journey of mine. How was your Halloween? Put some comments down below. Do you still, whatever age you are, do you get dressed up? Do you eat yourself some candy? Do you have kids? Did you go out with them? Moo. You always have to do that, right? What was your experience like? Did you TP any houses? Do we still do that in America? I don't know if that's something that gets done anymore. Remember when I was growing up, it was always that threat of egging a house or toilet papering a house. Have we gotten past that? Are we still doing it? You let me know if you enjoyed your Halloween. I'm going to let you sit here and enjoy some of this ride for a little bit, and I'll check back in just a little bit. Welcome everybody, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed some of that. Beautiful, beautiful. I see a political sign right there, and we are approaching the date of elections. That's on Tuesday. I'm going to hopefully have this up in either Sunday or Monday. That's my goal. So I'm going to take this time to ask and have you hear me talk about how important it is, if you are eligible to vote, that you actually do that. I know it can be easy these days to be cynical, and rightfully so, about the world, about how politicians and politics in general may not be serving you and serving us in multiple ways and from multiple sides of the so-called political aisle, the ideological spectrum. Don't get me wrong, I feel the same way as you. I guess I remain, you could call it Pollyanna, you could say whatever you want. I'm a returning American. I was expat for 17 years, as I just said. Sorry again for the sniffling nose. I said that in the last episode. This time of year, my nose runs. Yeah, so being an expat for 17 years, now I did get to vote from overseas in the general elections. So for president, I could do that in my last state that I lived in officially every year. And I certainly did that. But, politics is local. That's an old saying. I'll Wikipedia and see if I can figure out who said that once. What a beautiful tree I'm riding right into here. I will not be riding into it, but I think you understand what I mean. That is beautiful. So yeah, politics is local. These kinds of things, your governor, your attorney general, your local representatives, all that kind of stuff, that matters a great deal to your life, to what your family, what your kids, what you and your partner experience, the quality of your life. It really is important. Again, if you're past that point now and you just don't believe in it anymore, I hear you, I feel you. Don't hate me for saying I believe in it still. After all this time, after everything that's happened, I still do believe that it matters. And I hope you take the time, if you're still capable of doing it where you are. I don't know what the rules are, the states that you are in, maybe, and cities in terms of registering or day of. I took advantage of the early voting, which again didn't exist when I left in 2006. This early voting thing is a really cool thing in my mind, especially when you see those lines of people standing outside polling stations on election days for hours on end. That just doesn't seem right. So I'm going to leave it there. This is a short one today, some more Matrix Musings here on the Inner Road. If I do think of anything else worth saying, I'll pop back in. Big deer just passed it on the side of the road. My goodness, I'm so sorry that deer is no longer alive. I am also very pleased as a motorcyclist that it was not alive jumping out at me right there. So I'll check back with you later if I have something to say. Otherwise, I hope you had a great weekend. I hope you consider voting on Tuesday. Thank you for checking out the channel, The Inner Road. It means the world to me. If you ride safe, ride your ride, whatever that ride is. Be good to yourself and be good to each other. And I'll see you on the next one if you feel like stopping by. Talk then.